MHA from Harbour Grace, Portagrave. Pam Parsons is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm great, Daryl. Thanks. I'm calling, of course, from the beautiful, strong district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave. And I will say, actually, just to touch on that boat lighting, I think last time we spoke, I think I said it was sometime in mid-December, but it's actually December 7th. So there you are. I want to clear that up. So it's December 7th, and that's on a Friday. So and usually kicks off around 6 o'clock. So by all means, everybody's welcome to certainly come out and take in that beautiful spectacle.
There it is. The plug is in. I don't know where to begin, so I'll start with take us back to last Friday. What was your day like once you heard that the report had been leaked?
Well, it's safe to say that it's been a busy week, and to say the least. Not just that particular day, but it's been a very, very busy 6 months, really. I mean, lack of a bit of sleep, a lot of conversations and whatnot. But Daryl, I'm confident. I stand by things I did say. I don't really have a comment on that, as I did tell the media this week that I will be waiting until the appropriate process unfolds in the House of Assembly. But I was elected to do a job, and that's to represent the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, and to be the voice for the people, and that's certainly what I intend on doing. And so, yeah. It
must have been. I'm just thinking, if it were me in someone's position, you'd want to lash out, basically, but like Sherry Gambin Walsh, you seem to have risen above here and just let this play out the way it's supposed to play out.
Well, it's about a process. I mean, right now we are at a critical time. Not just in Newfoundland and Labrador, but across North America. You look at the Me Too movements. You look at the Time's Up. I mean, we're seeing what's happening in the United States. Our strongest neighbor with trading and political relations. I mean, we see this is happening across the continent, as I said. And, it's a critical time. And what I will tell you, people are watching. The people of the province are watching, and they have great expectations, and so they should. I mean, we're in 2018. It's time to do things better, to say the least.
Were you disappointed?
That's what I'm committed to doing.
Were you disappointed with the results of the study? Just the one solo complaint that was taken into account and basically exonerated from the other 7?
Well, as you can appreciate, I did send a message to the Management Commission, and that's all on record. That's all in the public domain. So I'll simply refer to that. I mean, that's out there. And again, I do want to respect the process and wait till I actually comment on these particular issues. I will do that once this is concluded in the House. But I did release that letter to the Management Commission, which is on record, and it's available, of course, for consumption, for public consumption.
Yeah, I had a look at that letter. The one thing I mentioned off the top of the show this morning, don't know if you heard, is that it would seem that some of the details that you remember do not jibe with some of the details that are in the report.
Well, that's true, and I mean everything that I put in my letter, in my confidential complaint, of course, I will add, it's confidential complaint. I stand by that, and again, that's all out there. If by all means, I encourage the news media, when reporting on this story, simply use those facts that I presented forward in my official formal documents.
In a serious a subject as serious as this, as harassment and bullying in the workplace. Do you think that the conversation was kind of hijacked from the beginning, that it suddenly became about smoking marijuana?
Well, in my opinion, that's a complete deflection from the real issue. The real issue is bullying, and I can speak from him, and it all stems back. Anybody who knows or who has been paying attention, I'm a very vocal MHA. With regard, this is particular about the 1.6 busing policy. When this was implemented. Having done research, I mean, this was implemented years ago, but it was not implemented in my area where my children are going to school here in Harbour Grace, Portagrave, until about 2016. And prior to the school year beginning, my phone started ringing, and rightfully so. I mean, the 1.6 kilometer busing rule, of course, means that if children, these kids who live in that radius, if they don't have their parents or can rely on their own transportation to get to school safely, they're forced to walk. And out here, we do not have the infrastructure. We do not have the sidewalks that you'd see in a metro region. We don't have the signage or the lights and that sort of thing. So parents out here, it is a big issue. It's a big concern. It was an issue then. I was very vocal about that, and I have been, and that's where all this started. But the bottom line, I'm still advocating for that. And I will always advocate for the people, on behalf of the people here in the district, for whatever issue they come for. Everybody knows we need a school here in Coley's Point Primary School. It's over 65 years old. I'm vocal every time I stand in the House of Assembly. Usually, whatever we speak to different legislation, different topics, I always advocate and still talk to that. And I'm happy to say I had a conversation again. I was with the Minister of Transportation and Works last night at a joint council meeting, and he confirmed to me that things are moving, and we will be starting. The plan is to start the physical construction on that new school, that well-deserved, long-overdue school, this coming spring, please God. The bottom line, the issue is about her. All I will say about it, as I said, I've told your colleagues in the media, I will reserve comment until the process unfolds properly, as it should, appropriately within the House of Assembly. As you can see, everybody can tune in, and I encourage everybody, come to the public gallery, come and see your elected officials, come and take in the experience and see it firsthand, see the debates and whatnot. It's certainly, that's what it's there for. It's the people's house, so I encourage everybody to come, and observe and watch. That's what we're there for. We're there on behalf of the people who elected us, and that's my mandate. The promise I made when I ran is that I will always be honest, and I will certainly always do everything I can to exhaust every avenue to help my constituents and to be their voice. And, I'm not going to let anything stop me. No, nothing's going to silence me. I guess the bottom line is what I'm going to say when it comes to doing my job. And having said that, I do want to move on to Harvey Street, because I did want to talk about that, because you know what? We are dealing with this contentious issue, but business goes on. And I wanted to give people an update on Harvey Street and Harbour Grace. Harvey Street and Harbour Grace is a very hot topic in this district. If you've ever taken a drive over that roadway, it's in desperate need for repair. And I spoke with meetings have been ongoing. So what it is, Daryl, it's an issue between municipal affairs and transportation works. Before the province can put down new smooth pavement for motorists, that whole area needs to be, all that infrastructure, the underground infrastructure, the water sewer needs to be replaced. So it's a job that involves two departments. And so I want to also commend the council, the town council of Harbour Grace. Of course, they've been advocating for this. We've been having ongoing meetings, as I've mentioned. We had our last one last Friday with the Minister of Transportation Works. But I have gotten confirmation, and I spoke with the minister again this morning, and he confirms for me that Transportation and Works, the department is ready to resurface that roadway, as long as the town now can move forward with the capital works projects with their priorities to get that infrastructure replaced. And I've just got the word today that Blacktop will see Harvey Street. And also a bit of that conversation was that there was an agreement, and the resolution has been discussed, I guess, ongoingly now for several years on this. And there was a discussion for the town to take over that road once it's been done. And I'm happy to say that the minister gave me confirmation that conversation is now off the table. The department is not asking or expecting the town of Harbour Grace to take over the responsibility for Harvey Street. So taxpayers in that town can breathe a sigh of relief, because it comes down to dollars and cents, really, and what we have to work with. So I got confirmation today from Minister Steve Crocker, who's my neighbouring MHA. And I want to say, I want to thank him for the great working relationship that we have, and working on behalf of the residents. And this is what it's all about. It's about working together and getting things done. I'm committed to doing that, and that's certainly what I'm going to do. What's
been the response from the people in your district about what's sort of panned out over the last week or so?
Well, I attended an event. We were in the House Assembly all week, so I came out, of course, back to my district home here in Bay Roberts last night, and I attended the Poppy Campaign event that was launched, of course, in Bay Roberts Legion last night, and all the Legion members from across the region were there. And I got to say, the support I'm receiving is outstanding. It's amazing, and it's very heartwarming. Especially, my parents told me, Daryl, before, are you sure you want to jump into politics, because it can get dirty, it can get ugly, you've got to develop a thick skin. I knew all this going in. Safe to say, to say the least, we're all experiencing it, and perhaps this is the first. Like I said, this conversation we're having about bullying and intimidation, it's the first that we're having in the province to the degree and the magnitude that we're having it now. But I don't regret it. I'm where I am for a reason. I wouldn't change it. So if I won the Lotto Max tonight, I would still stay on as an MHA. I love this work. I'm here for the people, and I want to thank people for the support they've shown me all week and last night to get back home and to get out with the people in my district, hands-on, on the ground. It felt so good. And I mean, I'm here for them. They know that, and I will continue doing everything I can to represent them to the best of my ability.
One more question before I let you go. I know no one gets to see or hear what happens in the caucus room, but how is everybody getting along given this crazy 3 days or a week that we've been witnessing?
I've got to say, the tone and the atmosphere, I think it's better than what it was, and I'm confident. I'm confident in the process going forward. What will be dealt with in the House, I'm optimistic, and I want to say, my colleagues have been very supportive as well.
Someone just sent a note, and I got to ask you this: the committee, the report now has gone to the Privileges and Elections Committee. Are you on that committee, and will you be sort of like recusing yourself from that whole thing?
Well, I am a member of the Privileges and Elections Committee. I was appointed to that committee when I was elected as an MHA, and we've been doing a lot of work all summer. We've been meeting all summer, actually, and we've heard from so many groups. You name them. I mean, across the province, really, women's groups, LGBT groups, other groups, Native Friendship Centre, the Gardner Centre at Memorial University, and hearing from experts on who deal with harassment and bullying, and getting input. And we're reaching out. We're consulting with these groups. A lot of work has been done. And what I will say, like I say, there's high expectations. I mean, people are watching, and they expect superb results to come out of this. And so, yes, I am on that committee. With regard to the point and privilege the other day, I did recuse myself from that particular point, and to deal with that, given the fact of my involvement that it is the report that I filed that was being discussed. So I did recuse myself from that fairly, but I will leave that to the committee, and that's exactly what I did. When I filed, actually, my confidential complaint in July, I disclosed that to the committee immediately, and I asked them to have a discussion and to vote on whether or not they would like me to stay on as a committee member to contribute. So I excused myself that day. They had the conversation, they had the vote, and they voted to have me stay on and contribute to this work. So I will be consulting with that team. It's an all-party committee. Ms. Lorraine Michael is on that committee. Keith Hutchings is on that committee. Scott Reed is the chair, and John Finn is also on that committee. And so again, I'm all about fairness and transparency. I mean, we'll have that discussion. If they feel that I'm in a conflict, we'll certainly take the high road, like we've done.
Well, listen, yes, it seems that you and Minister Cameron-Walsh are indeed taking the high road. Listen, thanks for taking the time to speak to us here and clear some things up. And hopefully this weekend will be a little bit more relaxing than last. It's been a pleasure. I'm not even going to dignify you, but asking the marijuana question because I don't really care.
You have a great weekend, and like I said, that boat lighting in the Portagrave, in our great district, Harbour Graves Portagrave, it is happening on December 7th, and so I really encourage you to come on out and bring that guitar. I hear you're quite the musician.
Oh my God, why not? Okay, thanks for this.
Thank you, Daryl.
Bye bye.